and welcome to National Child Day. I am so excited that you're here. My name is Sarah Austin. I'm the founder and CEO of Children First Canada. We are a national charity that's dedicated to defending the rights of 8 million children and youth in our country. Did you know that Canada currently ranks 81st on the Global Child Rights Index? That's terrible. We can do far better than that. We want to make Canada the best place in the world for kids to grow up, and I hope that you'll join me in doing that. Today, we're going to be joined by many special guests who are going to talk about the rights of children and youth in our country, and together we're going to work to claim those rights. On that note, I'm very excited to introduce you to our host, Ainara Aline, who's 13 years old and lives in Hamilton, Ontario. Some of you may recognize Ainara from her show, Ainara's Bookshelf, and you might also know her from being a host on CBC Kids News. Ainara, we're so thrilled that you're hosting today. Thanks so much for being a part of the celebration, and thanks to all of our guests who've joined us today. I hope you all have a fantastic National Child Day, and that together we can make Canada the best place in the world for kids to grow up.
Hello everyone, my name is Ainara Aline and I'm so excited to be your host for National Child Day with Children First Canada. Today we have special events taking place all day long, and this day is all about celebrating you and all 8 million kids across Canada. Right now, this event is for students in secondary school and for the adults that care for you, including your teachers and parents. There are also adult leaders from across the country who are joining us because they all have a role to play in promoting our rights. And we're glad you're here too. Some of you are joining from your classrooms, and some of you are joining from home. Did you know that we have friends joining us from every corner of Canada? Hello to the students at Our Lady of Fatima in Ontario, Northvale School in Quebec, and Pacific Way in BC. In fact, we have dozens of secondary schools tuning in right now, and more joining us throughout the day. And we're so excited that you're here. It would be really cool to see how you're celebrating today, so we invite you to share pictures from your viewing parties in your classrooms and post them to social media using the hashtags National Child Day and hashtag Every Child, Every Right. Don't forget to tag Children First Canada. You're joining us from lots of different places, but did you know that we all have something in common? Can you guess what it is? It's our rights. Maybe some of you know lots about your rights, and some of you are learning about them for the very first time. Today, we're all going to learn something new, and hopefully we'll have some fun while we're at it. We have lots of special guests joining us who will help us learn more about our rights and how we can all play a role in helping make our rights a reality. Now, as we start our time together, we want to begin by acknowledging that we each live, learn, and play on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territories of many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Learning about the traditional territories of Indigenous people is one of the ways we can be a part of the journey of reconciliation. If you want to explore more about where you live or other parts of the country where your friends are from, check out the link below where you can learn more. Now, I'm honored to welcome our first guest, Elder Verna McGregor, to join us and offer a blessing. For those of you who haven't met an elder before, elders and traditional teachers have an important and respected role in First Nations, Métis, and Inuit cultures. We honor our elders when we invite them to provide traditional welcomes and share their knowledge with us. Elder McGregor is from the Algonquin community of Kitigan Zibi Anishinabek, which is up north of Ottawa. She has played a leadership role in many national and Indigenous organizations, along with on reserve in her community. She has also been involved with Children First Canada as an Indigenous advisor, and we're so grateful for her leadership and guidance on our journey of reconciliation. Elder McGregor, thanks so much for opening our session today. Please accept our virtual offering of tobacco as a sign of respect for your wisdom and knowledge. Thank you for opening our time together. Can all my friends please give Elder McGregor a big warm wave and welcome her?
Hello, everybody. Bonjour tout le monde. My name is Verna McGregor, and I'm from Kitigan Zibi Anishinabek, and I'd like to welcome you today. I'm coming to you from Ottawa, Gatineau, which is part of our traditional lands. I'm very honored to just give an opening blessing prayer for National Child Day because it's very important. Our children are our future. Also, too, as well, what the elders say to us, too, as well, is that we don't own the earth, we borrow it from our children. So I'm honored to also represent Children's First Canada, which I've been with them for a little while now, a couple of years, because what they do is also very important in empowering our youth, the next generation, to raise their voice on their concerns, because they'll be inheriting issues as in no time flat, as well as how fast children grow up. So on that note, also too, as well, I like my background too, as well. There's the mother bear or father bear and the offspring, because for us as Algonquin too, as well, one of our basic teachings is we're known for the canoe, the birch bark canoe. And one of the teachings of the canoe too, as well, is that we teach our kids and prepare our kids so that they can paddle their own canoe as they become adults and get older. You can paddle your canoe through rough waters and also to get to calmer waters, hopefully. And the biggest also teaching of the canoe is balance. So that's where the importance of passing on this knowledge to the next generation, like our bear to her offspring. And you know about Mother Bear too, as well. Don't mess with her. Anyway, I'm just going to say a little prayer to honor all the children as well, because Canada is a signatory to the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which was signed in 1989. So I say, miigwech kjemanido, onjene gashkito chamawindo se koshe no go mame kakena pamadzichik mam degen in dabanoji shak, miigwech onje kakena gagishen danan shemon mam degen in the kimanan, shkaki question kason in the kimanan, miigwech onje kakena ete kishagon kises, tibikizes a shichanung shak. We do kwan and okamis nano jay naga the wabandan kakina guch nibi punk sing saigan kichigagam. Miigwech ish kude kaki mishin chimino opchitoyang. We do kwa kakina onje naga the wabdan kakina guchish kude mam again in a wak. Miigwech na seven kaki mishin chimino pamatsian. We do kwa kakina mam gay kakina guch. We tashi akusa check mami COVID-19 shit kakina guch akusuwin. We gwachoji kakina ninjino and dognak mishomsinan negokmisnan. Mom to get no gum in dabanoji shak. Hanshesquat ningwe de semen kego gasheman a doshit kana noch gush ningwe de semen. We doka kakina mom to get shit, we see suck kakina mitigo. Messinis, Pemisuajik, Pamadagajik, Pamudagajik, no god a chick, me Jim Wajik, kakina guch. A shit. We don't quite me got a chick, che one kiwa, jenabigus, on Jane and Dabanoji shak me, me gwetch, me gwetch, me gwetch, me gwetch. Me gwetch is thank you, merci in our language. And I say it 4 times because it's tied to also to the medicine wheel here. And again, it represents the 4 stages of your life. You do your earth walk, your first breath until you return back to spirit. The 4 seasons, the 4 directions. It also represents the 4 elements, is what I say in the prayer, which means we say all the gifts of the earth, the water, the air, and the fire. Without them, we wouldn't be here. And also, but we also have to be caretakers of this for our next 7 generations. So I honor you and have a wonderful National Child's Day. Miigwech. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elder McGregor. Next up, I'm excited to welcome another special guest, and I think you'll all be excited to meet her too. She has a very big job, and one of her many responsibilities is to protect the rights of every child in Canada. Can you guess who it is? I'll give you a hint. She works on Parliament Hill. I'm very happy to welcome the Honorable Jenna Sudds, who is Canada's Minister of Families, Children, and Social Development. Can you please all join me in giving Minister Sudds a big warm welcome?
Happy National Child Day. Bonne journée nationale de l'enfant. Just over 3 decades ago, in 1991, Canada proudly signed the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. In it enshrines every child's fundamental right to grow up in a world free from violence, discrimination, and poverty. As a government, it's a commitment we've taken to heart, and we've made tremendous strides. En tant que gouvernement, c'est un engagement que nous avons pris à cœur, et nous avons accompli d'énormes progrès. Since we took office in 2015, hundreds of thousands fewer children have grown up in poverty. That's largely thanks to the Canada Child Benefit. By putting hundreds of dollars back into the pockets of families each month, the CCB has given parents the opportunity to put healthy food on the dinner table and give their kids the best possible start in life. That's important support for families across Canada because let's face it, from new shoes to soccer practice to healthy groceries, raising kids can be expensive. We're also building a national early learning and childcare system, making it affordable for parents to access high-quality childcare in their children's formative years, all for just $10 a day on average. We're providing dental care to hundreds of thousands of kids under 12 who don't have private insurance so that they can have healthy smiles without their parents worrying about the bill. And we're working to develop a national school food policy to ensure that every child has access to nutritious food in school so they can stay focused on what's important, learning in the classroom. Tout ce travail s'inscrit dans le cadre de notre engagement à offrir aux enfants un avenir sain et prometteur dès le début de leur vie. All of this work is delivering on our commitment to give kids healthy and bright futures from the very beginning. Chaque année, le 20 novembre, nous célébrons la Journée nationale de l'enfant afin de réaffirmer notre engagement à défendre les droits de chaque enfant. Every year on November 20th, we celebrate National Child Day to reaffirm our commitment to upholding the rights of every child. It's a mission that involves all of us, parents, early childhood educators, and everyone who plays a role in shaping the lives of children and nurturing their potential. There's more work to do, but I'm excited to continue working to build a world where our children can stay curious, dream big, and enjoy a happy and healthy and joyful childhood. Together, we can create a bright and promising future for our kids. Happy National Child Day. Bonne Journée Nationale de l'Enfant.
Wow, thank you so much for joining us. Now, as you heard earlier, National Child Day is a day to honor the rights of children in Canada. Did you know that every child in Canada shares something in common with children all around the world? It's our rights. All children have the right to have a safe and healthy childhood and to receive the care and support you need to achieve your full potential. Here is Sarah from CBC Kids News to tell us more.
Water is a basic human right. Everyone deserves access to clean drinking water, no matter what our race or color is, or how rich or poor we are.
The right I'm fighting for is safe education emotionally for people who don't feel very represented in our schools.
I'm fighting for the right to have somebody listen to me and to have somebody to talk to because of mental health.
I am fighting for children's rights to a clean environment.
National Child Day is November 20th. It's a day that recognizes that every kid in Canada has the right to be treated fairly, no matter where they live, the color of their skin, their religion, language, or gender. In fact, children's rights are protected by this international law. It's called the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. Canada signed the international agreement around 30 years ago. Almost 200 other countries have also signed. So, what are your rights? Well, they can be sorted into a few different buckets. Number 1, you have the right to access healthy food, safe water, and the best medical care possible. You also have the right to a clean environment. Number 2, you have the right to get an education and to play. If you have a disability, you have the right to get extra support. Number 3, you have the right to be protected from violence, abuse, harm, and exploitation. That applies to both your body and your mind. Number 4, you have the right to be listened to and respected. You're allowed to have a say in the decisions that affect you. Here's another thing you may not know. There are kids in Canada who feel that their rights are being ignored. These teens are fighting to change that.
There's First Nations communities in Canada that are living in third world conditions. Some of these communities over 25 years without clean drinking water. They have to use bottled water every day. And The way I look at it is like there's kids that are my age and younger that grew up not knowing what it's like to drink water from a tap or have it for everyday uses.
I saw that my school wasn't taking serious some things that I found were racist, and that paired with police officers in schools that were coming in with their full armor, like as a position to be education resources, didn't make me feel safe because historically police have not always treated everybody equally.
I was a pretty shy kid, didn't have a lot of friends, and I kept my feelings to myself. A lot of times I felt alone. I didn't have anybody to talk to, and as I grew, that did take a toll on me. And I soon learned that I needed to talk to people to improve my mental health.
I am one of 15 youth plaintiffs suing the Canadian government for their actions regarding climate change. We are suing them for the ways in which they are perpetrating the climate crisis and their inaction to solve the climate crisis as it affects our rights as youth and as citizens of Canada.
These teens say Canada still has a ways to go when it comes to upholding children's rights. In the meantime, they say they're going to keep pushing to make sure that laws, like this one, are honored. Check out cbckidsnews.ca for more on these young activists and what they're fighting for. For CBC Kids News, I'm Sarah Chaudhry.
Thank you, Sarah. I learned something new about my rights. How about you? You can download your own copy of the poster that she showed us about the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child for free, along with an activity guide at nationalchildday.org. Now, we've got some very exciting news to share. Last year on National Child Day, Children First Canada launched a contest and invited children from all across the country to help create videos to teach us about our rights. Young people from all across Canada worked together to write and produce videos, including one for students in elementary school and one for students in high school. And they created different versions in both English and in French. Well, today you get to see the results. We're going to show you one of the 4 videos, but later today you can go online to see all 4. And we hope you'll spread the word and share them in your schools and online.
Hey y'all! So, this is what it looks like when I wake up.
The child right that is most important to me is the right to live with a family which cares for you. Because I think it is very important to kids that they grow up safely and comfortably to make sure that they thrive as an adult to make proper decisions for themselves.
Hey y'all! My brain is hungry.
The children's right most important to me is the right to have an education. This would prevent other problems from occurring, and their actions wouldn't be supported by just opinions, but facts.
Sharing's caring, y'all!
The right to pick your own friends. This is important to me because I want to hang out with the people that I choose to hang out with.
Next up, you're going to hear from TELUS about a program called TELUS Wise that not only helps kids stay safe online, but also teaches us about our rights and responsibilities. When you're online, you have rights, just like in the real world. It's important that every child knows and understands their rights when using technology and the internet. Some of these rights include the right to be safe. You have the right to feel safe and protected when using the internet. You can learn how to stay safe online and avoid things like cyberbullying or sharing personal information with strangers. Next, the right to privacy. You also have the right to keep your personal information private, and you can learn how to protect your privacy online and what information you should never share with others. 3, you have the right to be treated with respect. This includes the right to be treated with kindness and respect, both online and offline. Together, we can learn more about cyberbullying and how to stand up against it. 4th, you also have the right to access information and learn new things online. And lastly, you have the right to be heard, including the right to express your thoughts and opinions online. You also have the responsibility to use your voice in a positive and respectful way. TELUS Wise wants every child to know their rights and feel empowered to use technology and the internet in a safe and responsible way. They provide resources, workshops, and activities to help you learn more about your rights and how to protect yourself online. Remember, every child has the right to be safe, respected, and have a positive online experience. Now, let's listen in to learn more.
Cyberbullying. Cyberbullying isn't just sending mean messages online. It's being cruel or intentionally embarrassing someone, spreading rumors, sharing or liking humiliating or intimate photos. Engaging in this kind of behavior online can have a huge impact on your online reputation and can have real-life consequences for yourself and others. Choose kind online and help #end bullying. Did you know that 42% of Canadian youth have experienced cyberbullying? If you're being cyberbullied, help put an end to it with these tips. 1. Stop the conversation. Leave the online space immediately and don't engage in the conversation or argue back. Replying can make the situation worse. 2. Block all messages if you can and report the person directly within the social media site or game you're using. 3. Record the messages in case they are needed later for an investigation. Take screenshots if you have to. 4. Talk to a trusted adult and decide on a course of action. In serious cases and where these efforts don't help the situation, you should contact your local law enforcement agency. Harassment is a crime under Canada's Criminal Code.
Next up, we're going to travel together to Winnipeg, Manitoba, to visit a very special place called the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. Have any of you been there before? Wave your hand if you have. Okay, well, today we all get to go together on a virtual field trip and learn something new about how we can all stand up for our rights. All right, buckle up. Off we go.
Hi folks, I'm Thea. I work here at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, and today I'm going to be talking to you about upstanders. Now this is a word you've maybe heard before, maybe not, but when we talk about upstanders at the museum, we mean somebody who takes a stand for their own rights, for the rights of other people. It's someone who knows their strengths, their gifts, their abilities, all the things that they're good at, the things that they can do, and they see injustice in the world. They notice when bad things are happening, and they're able to use those strengths, those gifts, those abilities to do something about those bad things around them. So maybe when you start thinking now, you can think of people that you know in your community or people you've learned about at school who fit that description, who are upstanders. But first, we'll get one example for you so you can start thinking about what we mean when we say upstanders. So you might know her name already, you might have seen her face on the $10 bill. This is Viola Desmond. And so Viola Desmond was an upstander from Nova Scotia. She was a black woman who one day was driving her car and it broke down. And while it was being fixed, she decided she was going to go see a movie. When she got to the theater, they refused to sell her a ticket on the first floor because she was black and because they only wanted white people sitting there. It was a segregated theater. So she bought a ticket for the second floor, but went and sat on the first floor anyways, because that's where she was going to actually be able to see the movie. Employees came over and they told her she couldn't sit there, but she stayed. And eventually they called the police, who arrested her pretty aggressively. She was injured while they were arresting her, and they took her out of the theater. Now, they said that they were arresting her because she hadn't paid a tax, because that ticket on the first floor had 1 cent more in taxes than the ticket on the second floor, the one that she actually paid for. But really, it wasn't so much a tax thing, it was a racial thing. It was a racist arrest, and she was being an upstander by being brave, by saying, no, you can't just stop me from sitting here because of the color of my skin. And this is a story that so many years later we still talk about because of how brave she was, but also because her upstander act didn't end when she left the jail or when her car was fixed. When she left the theater, she continued with her family to fight for that charge to be pardoned. Because they had arrested her, they fought for that to be undone. And even after she died, her sister, Wanda Robson, continued to fight, continued to push for freedom from discrimination based on race, and for their right to have equality no matter what their skin color. An upstander doesn't have to be an adult. Viola was 32 when she became an upstander, when she took a stand for her rights, but that doesn't have to be the case. Kids and teenagers can also be upstanders. So the next few examples that we're going to talk about are examples like that, when kids and teenagers took a stand, specifically in this case for the environment and for the way that we are treating the earth that we live on. So to start off here, we're going to talk about someone whose name you may have heard before. We're talking about Greta Thunberg. So she is a young activist who's really passionate about the environment, about how we treat the land, because it is so important for us to be living on it and for it to stay in a good space. So here we can see Greta in Montreal with a bunch of other students and young people with her, a rally to stand up for the earth and for its well-being. And right beside that, you'll see a picture of a strike, a bunch of students who walked out of school as a way of showing everyone how important it was to them that the environment be protected, and as a way of showing that all of them together could make a change. These students, even if they're young, are all acting as upstanders. They're using their bravery, their ability to join all together, and their influence as young people, as future voters, future leaders, to show people what they think, what they know needs to happen for our earth to stay healthy. Now we've got another example in the middle. We'll walk over to that now. This example here, again in Canada, this time in BC, and now we're talking about a group of Indigenous teenagers who were really passionate about defending the land around them, and specifically the water as well. They were noticing a whole lot of gas and oil projects around them that were creating lots of pollution. And this was an ongoing movement. Already for years, Indigenous people in BC have been talking about this, have been taking a stand for the health of the environment. Because for a lot of Indigenous cultures, they don't look at the land or water as a resource. Instead, it's a relationship. So you protect the land and the water, and it will help protect you in return. So these teenagers, they decided that they wanted to join in on this movement. They wanted to do their part as well. And so they used their voices and their ability to group themselves together, but also their artistic abilities. So you'll see here all these banners. So they hung up these banners on this big bridge in BC to show people, to get everyone's attention and let them know that this was an important thing. You can see we have one of the banners pictured here in our gallery right above us here. This banner lets you see just how brave these students were, having to rappel down from the bridge to hang them up there. But this banner you'll see has some words on it. Those are in Squamish, and it means it is in our blood to protect the land, showing us just how important it was to these students and to their communities to make sure that the land kept thriving and that they, with the land, with the water, could continue to grow that relationship and continue to live happily. Now we've got one more example. We're going to move to that one now. It might feel overwhelming to think that it's all on you to protect the environment, or it's all on you to be an upstander and to make change to protect people's human rights. But that's not the case, because you have each other. But also, to be an upstander, you don't have to organize a huge movement. You don't have to be Greta Thunberg. You can be one of those people who joins the rally. You can be someone who tells their family about what's going on. And there are things all around us that we can use to be upstanders. So you can see here, this is a student who was really passionate again about the state of the environment, and in this case, global warming and the increased natural disasters that they were noticing around them. This student used Legos to be an upstander, but there are all kinds of different things you can do. You can tell people about what's going on, you can use your voice, and it doesn't have to do with climate change either. Maybe you hear someone making a racist or homophobic joke and you want to say something about it. You don't have to be Greta Thunberg, you can join a movement and you can be an upstander like that as well. So I encourage you to think about what you're good at, what your friends are good at, what strengths, gifts, and abilities you have. Let them know too. And then think about how you can be an upstander, how you can help to create positive change in the world around you.
That was so cool. And it gave me some great ideas for how to stand up for the rights of children. And it was also a powerful reminder that when we team up with others, we can do more together than we can alone.
No matter who we are, no matter where we're from, no matter what we stand for or what makes us unique, every single person on this earth deserves the right to dignity and equality. Every person should be welcomed with open arms. We should not face discrimination for fleeing our homes to escape violence or persecution. We should have the right to love who we love. We should have the right to call the police without fear. We have the responsibility to stand up for all people because human rights are not red or blue. Our candle shines for human rights. It glows with hope and clarity. It exposes injustice and it will not be ignored.
Now, I want to introduce you to a group of students across Canada who are playing a huge role in defending the rights of all young Canadians. Today, I'm joined by 4 amazing young people who are incredible leaders in their communities who are advocating for the rights of children and youth all across Canada. They are members of the Young Canadians Parliament, which is a program run by Children First Canada. It's a program run by youth and for youth to help kids learn about their rights and have a seat at the table with the highest levels of government and influence the change they want to see. The YCP is helping to make changes on many issues that are important to young people, like combating racism and discrimination, protecting our planet from climate change, and promoting mental health. First up, we have Adeline, who is 13 years old from Victoria, British Columbia. Hi, Adeline.
Hi.
Next, we have Krish, who is 16 years old and lives in Calgary, Alberta. Hey, Krish.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, good, thanks. And then heading further east, we have 10-year-old Rain joining us from Toronto, Ontario. Hey, Rain.
Hi there.
And last, but certainly not least, we have 16-year-old Josephine joining us from Ottawa. How's it going? We don't have anyone from further east with us today, but I hear there are also several members from Quebec and the Atlantic region too. The YCP is a cool way to meet other youth from coast to coast to coast and be a part of a national movement to defend the rights of children. So welcome everyone, it's very great to meet you. All right, Josephine, let's start with you. You've been a member of the YCP for a couple of years now. Can you tell us in your own words what the program is and why you got involved?
I first joined the YCP because I saw an announcement for it at school, and I thought it'd be a good way to learn about my rights and how to protect them. During the meetings, we learned about the parliamentary process, how bills get passed, and we met different dignitaries whose actions directly affect the lives of young people all across Canada. During the YCP sessions, young people come together and they talk about issues that they're passionate about, such as Ainara said, discrimination, mental health, poverty, food insecurity, and everything in between. And we channel those passions into projects and mock bills, and we try to do our best to make positive changes in our local communities.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thank you, Josephine. So the YCP is a program that's open to any young person in Canada below the age of 18. And I learned that, Rain, you're one of the youngest members. It's going to be a long time before most of us are able to vote in the election. But Rain, I heard that you were Children First Canada's youth correspondent during the last federal election, and you got to interview and report from the campaign trail and on election day. Can you tell us why you think it's important for even younger kids to get involved in a program like the YCP?
Thank you so much. I think it's so important for young people like me, especially at this age, 10, 9, 8 years old, to get involved, because it's important as you keep on getting older to learn about your rights, to learn about human rights, to learn about the parliamentary system. I first got interested in politics when I went to go vote with my dad in the 2019 election. I didn't know anything about it. Then when I heard about CFC and all the amazing work that everybody's doing, I got so thrilled. And now I'm so happy to be a part of YCP because it's a great group of young change makers who are doing great work in their communities. And I'm so proud of all of our work. And I hope that we can continue to have great success in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's great to see people so young being a part of these things. So thanks, Rain. That's incredible. So it's a great reminder that even though we can't vote, our voices matter and our leaders need to listen to what we have to say. I'm curious to know more about the issues that the YCP members are focused on and the different ways in which youth are working to claim their rights. Krish, why did you join the program and what have you been focused on in your advocacy efforts?
So I joined because when I first heard of the program, I realized that it was a combination of debate, research skills, public speaking, mixed in with learning about government, politics, international relations to a small extent. And I was like, these are all really, really important issues that for whatever reason, youth just don't seem to be taking to. As of right now, we seem to be a bit more STEM oriented, and while it's great, we still need to learn about these sorts of things because they're just so valuable and so important. So I thought, you know what, let me take a shot at it. These are anyways I'm passionate about. What better way than to incorporate all of it into a program that actually matters and actually creates change? While I love debate and I love things like Model UN and other forms of debate, they're great and they imbue you with the skills for the future, necessary for the future, but they don't really help you in today's day and age. They don't help you in the now. So I thought, you know what? This is a way I can genuinely make change right now. And that's perfect for me. So my focus on advocacy would be more on the sides of fighting against child abuse. That's typically what I've been spending my time on. It's what I did last year as well. That was my focus. So apart from the bill, there was a partner of mine, Julia DeLolo. We actually worked quite extensively on this bill together over the past 6 or 8 months, really. And we've been working quite well together. We realized that, you know what, this is a bill that's one of a kind, and it doesn't exist yet. So we got permission from the YCP, and we're actually lobbying for it right now. We've been communicating with members of Parliament and senators across Canada to actually lobby for it, and hopefully we're working on getting it to actually be debated in Parliament and eventually be passed in real life. So that's kind of my focus on advocacy. And why did I join? I felt that this is one of the only programs I've ever seen to actually focus on the real life, real now change. We don't have something like that actually listens to the youth and wants to hear our opinions. So it was perfect. So yeah.
That's amazing. And I think that it's so incredible. And it just goes to show that kids or young people can actually make a difference. And seeing you guys out here, fighting for rights and doing that is just a great example. And I think you guys are really going to encourage other kids as well to stand up and learn more. So that's amazing. And what about you, Adeline? Is it true that you've already published your very own book? Can you tell us more about that?
So I was fortunate enough to win the UNESCO Indigenous Child Author Contest a few years ago and get to publish my book about a young Indigenous girl and her friends, including animals, on a quest to recover her language by exploring nature and speaking with elders. And since publishing that, I have had lots of opportunities to speak about Indigenous rights and the social development goals as UNESCO Child Author. I've also done work with my father, Kerry Newman, on his project The Witness Blanket. And earlier this year, I did a TEDx talk with him and recorded an introduction to the digital witness blanket. And in September, the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation invited me to Ottawa to speak about reconciliation at an education event for Orange Shirt Day and the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. And that was the first time I really made a big speech all on my own.
Wow, Adeline, that's a great list of accomplishments you have there. That's amazing. Congratulations. Each and every one of you are inspiring me. I mean, some of you are older than me and some of you are so much younger, and it's just amazing to see the age range and how much you guys are doing. So we're almost at the end of our interview. So in your final few moments with us, I'm going to ask each of you to share one piece of advice with all the young people tuning in today about how they can each play a role in standing up for the rights of children in Canada. So we'll do a lightning round from east to west, starting with Josephine.
So I guess the first thing would be talk to your parents, teachers, really adults in your life and tell them, hey, this is what I'm passionate about. Is there anything you can register me for that revolves around this particular issue? And then they can help you from there, because there actually is quite a few programs that they can apply you for that are maybe for grades a little bit older than you, but by asking them, they can say, oh, you're interested in this. And then next up, define local groups. A lot of times, there are already a lot of local groups that are involved in the thing that you're passionate about and changing, and they'd be happy to give you advice. If you don't have any local groups, you could, join the YCP. That's a good example of a group that you don't have to be in person for. And I guess from there, it's really about educating yourself and doing research and then coming up with a realistic plan for, your goal.
Perfect. Thank you, Josephine. Rain, do you want to go next?
Thank you so much. My advice would be never give up. That's something that I believe in myself, something that people that have inspired me have said also. If you start changing a community, that's absolutely amazing. That's one step further to getting to influencing change. If you want to have a good project, if you want to set it up properly, you can't give up. That's the main thing. You got to keep on going. If you're interested in politics and parliament and government and democracy and public affairs, public speaking, mock debates, international relations, YCP is the perfect thing for that. And I would suggest all of these people that are watching to join YCP, join YIC, join all of the amazing programs that Children First Canada run, because it's amazing how much work that all of these youth change makers and what Children First Canada is doing to make our future better. So that would be mainly my advice.
Yeah, I think that's great for everyone. Thanks, Rain. Chris, do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, of course. So one of the biggest things that I've experienced is one of the biggest ways to create change from my experience would definitely be coordinate and talk and voice your opinions with your local MP or your local MLA, depending if you want to work provincial or nationally. I think that, yes, we all do need to work a bit harder on the local aspect, but if this is a big change you want to make, you want to stir something, you want to make something really big, have a really big splash and impact, try with your MLA, your MP, one of those, even something as simple as an email telling them what you're passionate about and what you believe they should focus on. I think that's one of the really, really big things, because these are people that, for whatever reason, most people view politicians as being higher up there. It's more difficult to approach them, right? But that's not the case, at least with my experience. That definitely isn't the case. Now, letting these people know they're supposed to be your representatives, they're supposed to represent your ideals and your thoughts and your values, by telling them what you think they should be talking about when they go to parliament, when they go to legislature, anything like that, letting them know what they should be talking about is key. It is so crucial. From there, you can take it a step further and start working and coordinating with them, start volunteering. You can start doing so much more. Your voice is so powerful. So start using that, because that is so important.
That's very powerful, Krish. And I think kids often think that those people are so much higher above us or they're so far away, but I think letting them know that it's not that difficult to actually reach out and talking to them will help you a lot is a great message. So thank you. And Adeline, do you want to end us off?
I think that the most important thing to do is just to bear witness, to participate in things like Children's Day or apply for youth councils or just do research into things, and to just watch and listen and share everything that you learn from people.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you both. Thank you all for those great tips and those words of advice. And I just want to say a huge thanks to each of you for sharing a bit about your experiences with the Young Canadians Parliament. If you've been inspired by what you heard and you want to learn more, we want to invite you to sign up and join them. The new session of the Young Canadians Parliament just started earlier this month, and there are still a few spots available if you want to become a member. So please go to youngcanadiansparliament.com to learn more and sign up today. Thank you all so much. That was awesome. And for any of you who are inspired by what you heard and want to stay resilient while changing the world, you can go to nationalchildday.org to download the toolkit and lots more resources to learn about your rights and staying resilient. And if you're interested in joining the Young Canadians Parliament, it's not too late. It's a free program for any young person up to the age of 18. Go to childrenfirstcanada.org to learn more and sign up today. Now, I want to introduce you to a group of students in Vancouver, BC, who are claiming their rights by taking a bite out of hunger.
Canada is one of the only developed countries that does not have a federal nutrition program in schools of any variety. So there's communities where there's amazing things happening, but mostly that's not the case. The opportunity we have here at school is to develop those healthy eating habits, not just about what they eat, but how they eat. And Lunch Lab really builds off of that.
You really should come here because it has excellent food and you'll learn a lot.
You spent so much time preparing everything, and then when you get to try it, it's like, wow, this is really good, and it was made by 12-year-olds.
I didn't ever think that just a bunch of kids could feed 200 students, so it's kind of cool.
Lunch should be the most exciting part of a school day, and I'm really hopeful to see how Lunch Lab can contribute to that movement here.
Thank you to the amazing students and teachers from the Lunch Lab for everything that you're doing to stand up for our right to nutritious food. Do you know what's also really cool? Brent Mansfield, who's the teacher that leads the Lunch Lab, ran 200 laps around the school, which is about 90 kilometers, to campaign for a school food program to feed every kid in Canada. The students created posters and helped in the campaign, and many of them also joined Brent for several laps around the school. Will you all join me in giving them a big, warm round of applause? You can help take a bite out of hunger by contacting your local member of parliament and the Prime Minister and asking them to create a national school food program. It will help ensure that 5 million students across Canada get a healthy meal to eat every day and ensure we all learn the skills we need to live a healthy life. Go to healthyschoolfood.ca to learn more and stand up for our right to be healthy. There are so many ways that students like you and me can stand up for our rights. Next up, we'll hear from 13-year-old Adeline Newman-Ting from Victoria, BC, about the role we can all play in standing up for the rights of Indigenous children. When she was 12, Addie did a TED Talk with her father, Carey Newman, and wrote a book called Finding the Language as a UNESCO Child Author. She's a very excited member of the Youth Advisory Council for Children First Canada and the Young Canadians Parliament.
We all know that residential schools separated Indigenous children, but today, society still separates people by race, religion, gender, who's rich or poor, or what language you speak. A simple example is how my school separates kids by age. If you're in school, think about this. Do you have more friends in your grade or in a different grade? At school, I have more friends in my grade. But through other activities like sports and summer camps, I make friends with people who are older and younger than me. Having friends that are the same age isn't bad, but this example shows how we make social groups matters. If Canada reconciles with Indigenous peoples, but doesn't change how society divides us, then reconciliation won't last long. This leads me to my second point. Most kids have probably heard an adult say, "I love you, but I don't love your behavior." I know I have. So Canada, I love you for providing my Chinese and settler family members a lot of opportunities. I don't love your history of residential schools or ongoing attitude towards Indigenous people. I don't love the reserve system or the way you treat the land and water. In short, even though you provide a good life for a lot of people, I don't always love your behavior. We can't go back and fix the past, but we can make amends by learning the truth, understanding what causes injustice, and changing our behavior. That is reconciliation. Last week, I went to a potlatch. I wore regalia that I made with my Ottawas. I danced with my family and celebrated our culture. At one point, my Auntie Vera stood up and said, John A. Macdonald once said, we need to get rid of the Indian problem. But looking around this big house, I can say they didn't succeed. Everyone cheered. That is also reconciliation. I see a lot of that here today. So we are moving forward and we need to continue. Gaila Kessler, Sheshe, thank you.
Now it's your turn to claim your rights. Everyone who registered received an email with instructions for how you can create your own handprints. Maybe some of you have already made your handprints, and I can't wait to see them. If not, we hope you take a few minutes today to make your own handprints and be a part of claiming the rights of kids in Canada. On one side, you can print your name and age, and on the back side, write a few words or sentences describing which right is most important to you. Maybe it's your right to be active, or your right to good education. For some of you, it might be your right to be safe online, or to be protected from bullying, racism, or abuse. Or for others, it might be your right to a clean environment and a healthy planet. Whatever right matters to you most, we want to hear about it, and we want to help you claim your rights. Be sure to post pictures of your handprints to social media and use the hashtags EveryChildEveryRight and hashtag National Child Day. We also invite you to mail your handprints to Children First Canada, and we'll deliver the handprints from children all across Canada to Parliament Hill and invite the Prime Minister and all members of Parliament to protect your rights. And we promise to share pictures and report back to you so that you can see how far your handprints have traveled and see how many Canadians care just as much as you do about the rights of children. Well, that brings our time together to a close. This has been so much fun, and I hope you learned something new and had fun joining friends from all across Canada in standing up for children. Thanks to each and every one of you for joining us. Thanks to Children First Canada for bringing us all together. And thank you to all organizations that generously supported this event, including TELUS, the Government of Canada, Sick Kids, CHEO, the IWK, and the Mutsar Foundation for your support. We also want to thank our friends at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, the Young Canadian Parliament, and the Lunch Lab for being part of our events. I hope you all have a very special National Child Day and that you keep reading and rising with your rights. Go to nationalchildday.org to learn more and download your own poster and activity guide to keep learning and growing. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye!